Alright, what is going on guys? It's Tazz here and welcome back to the channel. Following the second episode for Gotham Knights' first season over on the CW, I can safely say this was certainly a step up from the pilot episode. For most shows, a pilot's main purpose is to more or less serve as a proof of concept, therefore it will mostly focus on world building, characters, and setting up a narrative for the rest of the season if and when it is ordered to series. With Gotham Knights, many saw the pilot and were worried by certain elements that were not up to the standards set by its fellow DC TV shows. But with episode 2, I definitely saw a massive bump in the show's quality from a writing standpoint, more polished set design, better pacing, a consistent tone, as it was just a much more well put together and cohesive episode than the former. The cast had much more personality, and they all felt much more comfortable in their roles. Gotham City felt a lot more alive, and the setup for where the story could lead for the rest of the season, centering around the mystery of the murder of Bruce Wayne, left me even more excited for the rest of Gotham Knights' first season. I know there's still a lot of negative discourse surrounding this show, but as someone who has found elements to actually enjoy and sees the potential here as a somewhat spiritual successor to Gotham and Batwoman, I thought it would be fun to talk about it in a more positive light. So with that said guys, spoiler warning for Gotham Knights Season 1 Episode 2, but with that out of the way, let's line launcher ourselves right into this episode breakdown. Opening up the episode, we have a pretty tactical GCPD raid of the Batcave underneath Wayne Manor as we get an interesting interaction between Harvey Dent and Cressida, who is more or less our Alfred replacement. However, there may be more to her than we see on the surface. They both talk about how they are looking out for Turner despite all of the current circumstances following Bruce's murder. Picking up with the Knights, we get a little casual theft, as they of course need to pick up some disguises if they are ever going to clear their names in the eyes of Gotham City and put a stop to the Court of Owls. There was a cool Black Mask reference with the Janus Cosmetics Company, as well as this scene just set a really good tone that carried throughout the rest of the episode. The cast seemed a lot more loose and comfortable in their roles, which paired really nicely with some of the much better dialogue, throwing some nice banter back and forth between each other. After running into Carrie Kelly Robin responding to the robbery, it's time to regroup back at the Belfry, which remains more or less the same as it was in the pilot, aside from a few quality of life improvements to the set, making it look a little more lived in and less run down. Still one of my favorite locations in the show next to the Batcave. It was also cool to see another reference with Harper throwing some blue in her hair as a disguise, since she is known as Bluebird in the comics. Stephanie Brown gets a chance to meet Turner's new friends when she stops by the Belfry, which gives us a chance for another world-building Easter egg with a reference to her father in Cluemaster. One of the side stories for the episode is following Harvey and the GCPD, tracking down our Knights not only for their alleged involvement in Bruce's death, but also the cleanup of some corrupt GCPD officers. Just like the story goes, the Talon will come for your head. Speaking of the Talon and the court, the Knights come up with a plan to return to the scene of the crime, roll credits, in order to retrieve Bruce's journal, which according to Carrie could have some vital information on his investigation into the Court of Owls. Taking this as their only lead, the Knights assemble. Turner channels the version of himself that Duella knows is in there, and they get to work. There's another awesome Easter egg with the code Turner puts in to the Wayne Tower elevator, which is 1939, the year that Detective Comics number 27 released and introduced the world to Batman. Turner and Carrie travel up to Bruce's office while Duella, Harper, and Cullen stay behind in the car on lookout duty and debate whether or not they should stick around to help take down the court or just get out of Gotham. Returning to the last place Bruce was alive, Carrie and Turner secure Bruce's journal, which is full of interesting information, including a possible connection between Joe Chill, the man who murdered the Waynes, and the Court of Owls. Really hope that is something we come back to in a future episode. Also, I did maybe spot a gun over in Bruce's stash of bat gadgets. Please tell me that was just a grapple gun or at least something non-lethal. Carrie grabs some more bat tech as Turner flips through the journal. However, this mission definitely could not end smoothly, as we get a big confrontation with one of the court's assassins, that being a Talon. Notice how I said a and not the. I know with certain iterations of the Talon character, there's just one. However, taking into consideration some of the events later on in the episode, and how the Gotham Knights game also had multiple Talons, I wouldn't be surprised if there's more than just one. But as Carrie and Turner fend off the Talon, Duella makes the decision to try and make it on her own, sell the watch with the court engraving, and skip town. Harper and Cullen decide to stay behind, siding with Turner and Carrie, showing some nice progression for the two of them, helping to escape the clutches of the evil Talon with an assist from an Arkham-style line launcher Carrie just so happened to have in her bag of tricks. Back at the GCPD, under the orders of the mayor, who obviously is in league with the court, Harvey brings in Stephanie Brown for questioning to get more info on Turner and the other knights. I found it quite hilarious how Harvey jumped to the conclusion that Stephanie was the one who hacked the Gotham banks just because she has an A in her computer science class. Well, he wasn't wrong, but that's still quite the leap. Quickly wrapping up this side of the episode, Brody ends up taking the fall for Stephanie, and I'm honestly not sure the purpose of his character, but it does seem like he's getting closer to figuring out what is really going on with Stephanie's connection to the rest of the Knights. After escaping the Talon at Wayne Tower, Turner leads the rest of the team on a rescue mission to save Duella from her own Talon encounter. This once again makes me think that there are possibly multiple Talons, unless the show just did a really bad job of showing the passage of time between the Wayne Tower encounter and the final fight by the warehouse. How could a single Talon get from place to place so quickly? Whether there's one or multiple Talons, that doesn't change the fact that the suit is really good, and this whole final fight sequence was pretty awesome. The Talon finds Duella during her attempted watch sale, chasing her back to the Wayne security car and trapping her inside. They then taunt her from the outside of the vehicle before setting the car ablaze, which would have certainly killed her if not for Turner and the team. Turner and Carrie fight off the Talon. Turner uses a sword he swiped back at Wayne Tower, putting it along with his fencing and martial arts skills to work. This was honestly such a cool fight scene, even if it was a little unbelievable that a bunch of kids with very little training and gear could hold their own against a highly skilled assassin of the Court of Owls. However, I think there might be a reason behind this. As I was gathering screenshots for this video, taking a closer look at the Talon in this scene, it almost looks as if they have a female build. Now, female Talon, what does that have to do with anything? Remember back to our Alfred replacement in the series with the character of Cressida, who has been doing some shady things ever since we met her in the pilot. In the comics, she is a character who is tied very closely to the Court of Owls, and originally I thought she could maybe be this show's version of the voice of the court from the Gotham Knights game, who is basically just the leader of the Court of Owls. But what if Cressida is actually this Talon and allowed Turner and the other Knights to escape because she still wants to protect him even after Bruce's death? If this is the case, we could be in for a classic DC TV masked villain reveal as a character we all thought was a friend, but a sus friend who just keeps raising more and more red flags as the season continues. Just a theory at the moment, but I feel like there's quite a bit to back it up here, especially after the end scene with Cressida talking to the mayor of Gotham, as they are both obviously tied in with the Court of Owls in one way or another. But after escaping the Talon's claws once again, this time thanks to the explosive bat crossbow, the Knights once again regroup back at the Belfry, preparing for what comes next. I did also think this was worth a mention. I've seen a lot of talk online, mostly directed at this end scene in the Belfry between Turner and Duella, and the possibility of the show pairing them together. As I've said before, I'm not a massive relationship fan on the shows. However, this could be interesting, placing the Joker's daughter with Batman's son. It could make for some very unique storytelling. Duella seems to have had quite the progression throughout the episode as well, learning to have some more respect for the way Turner and the rest of the Knights approach situations, and revealing she's maybe not as crazy as she presents herself. Still probably my favorite character on the show at the moment as well. Wrapping up the episode, we have Turner revealing to Stephanie that there are missing pages from Bruce's journal, believing the court may have something to do with it. However, cut to Carrie Kelly arriving back at home, and she actually has those missing pages, where all we can see is Bruce saying, "What will happen when Turner finds out?" Shocked Carrie Kelly face, Gotham Knights title card, and the end of the episode. What a cliffhanger to end things on, and what a surprisingly solid second episode to this series. Like I said at the beginning of this video, looking past a lot of the show's shortcomings, I see something with a lot of potential, the spirits of past DC TV shows, a cast and crew that cares a lot about telling this story, and a mystery that I cannot wait to see continue to unfold as we progress through the season. What is Bruce's big secret he's trying to keep from Turner, even post-mortem? Maybe the Waynes were secretly part of the court, Turner's real parents could have been members of the court as well, and that's why Bruce had to save him and adopt him to protect him. Or maybe this is in reference to Cressida and her involvement as the voice of the court, or even as a Talon. I've even tossed around the idea of Turner eventually becoming Azrael instead of Batman 2.0, but that's a theory for another time. So with that said, guys, there are so many exciting directions this show can go in as we continue throughout the rest of Gotham Knights' first season, and I want to know your thoughts on all of this down there in the comments below. Was episode 2 a step up in quality for you as it was for me? Do you think Cressida could possibly be the Talon, or at least a leader within the Court of Owls? And what do you think the big secret is that Bruce wants to keep from Turner? Let me know your thoughts on all of this down there in the comments below. But until next time, guys, it's been Tazz, and I'll see you guys in the next video.